Want to watch football without the restrictions of blackouts or cable? Check out expressvpn.com to help you get access to all the live games. Sign up today using the link in the description to get 3 free months. Kia ora, Bolt fam. It's the Director Chargers fans. Well, we've got another mock draft coming in today, one that maybe I'm a little bit nervous to do because it's a bit different than the ones that I've been doing here in the past couple of weeks. Confession time. There's a lot of floating opinions out there, man, when it comes to the draft, because the draft is really an interesting organism that really does need a lot of thinking and planning in order to tackle properly. There's best player available, drafting for need, trading up, trading down, trying to grab value. I'm going to try and take things at surface level in today's mock draft, because me personally, I've got my eye on some guys that I really want, and there's things and opinions in this video that maybe not everyone's gonna agree with. That is totally fine. This is going to be my selfish draft, who I want in the 2022 NFL draft for the Chargers this season. And again, maybe we're gonna simplify our thinking just a little bit, or at least get my opinions and my thoughts and feelings out in the foreground, kind of tell you guys where my head is at. Of course, there's different things that, like in an NFL draft, that I would do to try and maximize your value, but at the same time, on the surface, at surface level, there are just some guys that I love that I think the Chargers do have a legitimate chance in, whether they have to trade up or down or not. These are going to be my guys that I love in the NFL draft right now. So today, again, I'm going to cause some waves and select my guys in this selfish NFL mock draft for the 2022 Chargers. Before we do get started, guys, question in the comments. This is a safe place, okay? Who do you want? I know there's going to be some players that people like maybe catch a little bit of flack for. This is a safe place to go out here and make your case for who you want the Chargers to target, whether it be round 1 or round 7. Who knows, man? Let me know who you guys are looking out for. Before we do get started, guys, hit us up with a like and sub if you do enjoy this Chargers content. The small amount of time you guys take to hit the like, sub, bell notification helps me out a lot. We're getting close to 40K. Let's grab it, baby. With that, let's kick off into this one. Lights, camera, action. My selfish, who I want in the 2022 NFL draft. Chargers mock draft. Here we go, man. Now, before we do kick off, because I do want to state this one more time, there's something I like to call the move, okay? And the move in the NFL draft, I think, this season for the Chargers, which makes most sense for this team in moving forward, is going to be trade down, right? Try and grab a second round or third round pick while also moving down a couple of spots to better position yourself to grab maybe a much, bigger needed offensive line at a better value. That's, to me, what I think. If I'm trying to be the intelligent, strategist here in the draft, like Tom Telesco, I'm trying to move down, grab a little bit of extra draft capital to supplement that second round pick we traded away for Khalil Mack, while also better positioning myself for that offensive line pick that I'm sure a lot of Chargers want to see happen. Now, is that what I'm going to be doing? Nope. This is the selfish draft, remember? And I have a guy that I want in the first round of the NFL draft. And this doesn't mean that I'm just honed in on one guy, like just this one guy. This is just a mock draft that I put together where I was like, if it was me, man, if I had all the power, these are the guys on top of my list. So here we go, guys. With the first round pick for the Chargers at pick number 17, what I decided to do, and this is going to be one of my guys. I know I haven't really revealed this. I've told people I like this guy, but when it really comes to who I want, who I'm crossing my fingers for, who I'm really, going to be pounding the table for it and shouting and screaming if we do select, at pick number 17, the Chargers select Jameson Williams, wide receiver out of Alabama. Shocking, right? Not so much. I know everybody loves Jameson Williams, and there's nothing too crazy here, right? For me, it's almost a little bit hard to admit because, I'm very aware that the offensive line does need help. And after many years of watching, Phillip Rivers, that's really taught me it's not something that you can ignore. But there's a plan in place here at least in my mind, right? And this has, you know, in my opinion, as far as like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do on the right side of that line? It may have all been a smokescreen, and a very good smokescreen going into the draft, because of what, we're less than 1 week away as of today. I think offensive line may not be as big of an issue as we once thought. And I did kind of cover something like this in a recent video, but I think I've done a little bit more thinking and maybe dug up a little bit more opinions on the situation. I truly believe that the Chargers are prepared to start Matt Filer at right tackle this season. And this is something I've talked about before, and I do believe in Matt Filer, the right tackle for the Chargers. He was a rock solid a right tackle for the Pittsburgh Steelers when handling those duties. And I think, you know, he's better than any free agent right tackle that we're going to find on the market right now. Is he better than any of these rookies? You know, sure, a lot of them, you know, in the first round could definitely, you know, make a run for their money. But at the same time, I think Matt Filer is definitely one of the best options for the Chargers right now. And this would put the Chargers' biggest need at what? You know, right guard and left guard, especially that left guard position that Matt Filer was at last season that he was so good at. But I think the Bolts also have a plan in place here as well, right? I think they're waiting to re-sign Oday Aboushi, whether it's, you know, for draft strategy or health confirmation. I think this is intentional. I think Oday Aboushi is going to make a return to the Chargers this season, and they're just waiting to sign him until after the draft, okay? So what? We still need left guard help, right? So we got Oday Aboushi, we got Matt Filer on the right side. We still need a guy at guard to play next to Slater and Corey Linsley, right? Well, you guys know how I feel about Brendan Hymas. I've been talking up Brendan Hymas so much since he was drafted, and I really do like this kid, man. I do think he has what it takes to take that left guard position and run with it. Now, what this does is that it completely shifts what the Chargers' biggest need could be, you know, in quotations, biggest need. Offensive line, if you really look at it that way, which we'll show a graphic at the end of the video of what that line would look like, the offensive line for the Chargers is kind of good. It's in a good spot, right? And we could still draft another guard or tackle, you know, of the future, but man, there's no rush, right? Third round and beyond. I feel like if this is a plan for the Chargers, then grabbing a guard shouldn't be too difficult. And that, to me, gives us a lot of flexibility of what we're doing on draft night. Now, this leaves the door open, at least for me, for a selfish pick in round one, and Jameson Williams is my guy. Let's finally talk about why I love Jameson Williams so much and why this is the #1 guy I hope the Chargers decide to select here in the next week. So sure, he might be gone, you know, at pick number 17. There's a lot of evidence to suggest that, you know, he may slide as well. And in my mock draft, he was available at 17, and I did not hesitate to select Jameson Williams at pick 17. Now, Jameson Williams, to me, is one of the best possible additions that you can make to this offense and to this team in the first round, right? Simply because if you take a step back, Jameson Williams, the players talk about more in a second, but simply when you take a step back, man, it's because of our superstar, elite, top 3 quarterback in the league, Justin Herbert, right? Herbert, dudes, and I feel like it's maybe a part of his game that doesn't get talked about enough because maybe he doesn't have the weapons to utilize it as much. Herbert has one of the biggest arms in the entire NFL. His deep ball, his throw power rivals that of Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. Some say he could even be better. And you know what? I want to unleash that power onto the NFL to its full potential. Just imagine with me for a second, Williams paired with Herbert. That is nightmare fuel to opposing defenses, right? The same way you could almost think of Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill of the past was a nightmare for most people to even think about trying to contain. Because Williams, who I believe could have run a sub 4.3 at the combine, is the very best speed wide receiver in this class and one of the best ones we've seen in a long time. His ceiling could be multiplied tenfold with a quarterback like Justin Herbert who can really put some air under the ball. This dude is a lightning bolt. And this missing element to the offense right now, if we're able to address that and bring Jameson Williams into the fold, it could really catapult us into one of the most dangerous offenses in the league. And this helps the Chargers at pretty much every level in my mind. If J-Mo is on the field, you better back off if you're the opposing defense, right? The whole defense as a whole has to give him a little bit of space. And this in turn should help Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, even Austin Eckler get open underneath more frequently. Running any sort of play action with Jameson Williams in the lineup as well would intimidate any defense as well. And this in turn should help the run game in some capacity as well. Having Jameson Williams and his speed and his abilities on the field opens up not just what Justin Herbert can do with Jameson Williams, but what the rest of the offense could do as well. Then there's Jameson Williams himself, man, the player. We've talked about all like the positives of what could happen with Jameson Williams in the lineup. What about Jameson Williams, the player himself? This is the biggest reason I love this pick at pick number 17. This dude is more than just speed. And if you guys know me, in the draft, speed wide receivers sometimes can get reached for, right? Speed wide receivers sometimes, maybe their stock's a little bit too high because, yes, that speed element, very valuable in the NFL. But to me, you have to be more than just speed to make it in the NFL at the next level. And this dude, he can get open. He can make plays. He can move the sticks. Individually, Jameson Williams is very, very good. A very well-rounded wide receiver that just so happens to have an electric ejection of raw speed. Just wow. This is everything that you could ever hope for in adding another weapon to Justin Herbert's arsenal. And this means attacking any part of the field, up top, intermediate, down low, whatever, could result in a home run touchdown. Again, we've dealt with this for years via Tyreek Hill. I want that element on the Chargers in some shape, way, or form. And to me, there really isn't anyone else you could draft in the first round that would have a bigger impact than Jameson Williams. That is why this dude is my guy. A very complete wide receiver that just so happens to be one of the fastest that we've seen in the draft in a while. I do think that Jameson Williams paired up with this Chargers offense could catapult us into superstardom. Top 5, you can say maintaining that top 5 offensive last season and adding an extra layer to it. That would be a very, very dangerous piece to add to this Justin Herbert-led offense. So there you guys have it. Jameson Williams, that's the guy I'm hoping for on draft night. Again, it doesn't mean I wouldn't love the Chargers going out and getting a cornerback. We know that Brandon Staley loves him some Derek Stingley. It doesn't mean I wouldn't love a Jordan Davis. But for me personally, in my selfish mock draft, this is the guy I really hope we pick with our first round pick at pick number 17. Now, the Chargers, of course, don't have a second-round pick. That was traded away for Khalil Mack this season. Awesome trade. I still can't believe that's our reality. Guys, just wait until we see Khalil Mack on the field with Joey Bosa. Oh, man, it's going to be so fun to watch defense this year. But we are going to skip round number 2 and go straight into round number 3, where the Chargers' next pick does lie. At pick number 79, the Los Angeles Chargers will select Phidarian Mathis out of Alabama. I promise, guys, I'm not a diehard Roll Tide fan. Of course not, but there is another Alabama player on this list, and he happens to be my next guy here at pick number 79. I will say that I was extremely tempted to select Abraham Lucas, Ed Ingram, even though I do feel like that offensive line isn't a good spot. Why not add, some quality depth or a guy that can compete for starts? But in the end, Phidarian Mathis is my guy, and here's my thoughts on that, okay? The Chargers missed their shot at the postseason due to our horrendous run defense last year, right? It was just a pain to watch week in and week out. And I feel like I went back and watched a lot of the highlights. Taking a step back and really looking at it, that definitely was the biggest thing that teams took advantage of, and the Chargers just could not stop it. And this is why, again, we were pounding the table for the Chargers to trade for Akeem Hicks to bring in some more defensive line help. It didn't happen, and unfortunately, I do think that was cause for us to miss the postseason last year. Now, we have taken strides since then, right, in fixing it. Sebastian Joseph Day, Austin Johnson, we're on the upswing. Those dudes are going to bring a tremendous help to this defensive line and stopping the run, and then just quality play at the defensive line overall. Very excited to see those guys go to work. But if I'm the Chargers, I'm not done here. I want to go from worst to first right now. And I do think a guy like Phidarian Mathis still on the board. There's no way I'm passing on this opportunity to complete that objective of really turning this defense or this run defense around. I love Phidarian Mathis in the 3rd round. This dude is an absolute machine. 6'4", 310 pounds. He's a monster on that defensive line, and he's also incredibly versatile. If there's any coach in the NFL that would appreciate versatility in any of their players, doesn't matter the position, it's going to be Brandon Staley. Mathis is also very versatile. You can really line him up anywhere on that defensive line. His size, his strength, his arm length, which is very impressive. This will all add up to a player that can gobble up space in the middle of that line while also getting a hand on the ball carrier or the quarterback. He's an absolute beast of a run defender. But he also does offer pass rush help as well. 7 sacks in 2021. He's basically the Brandon Staley version of Jerry Tillery. Right? Maybe less good against the pass, but much better versus the run. Fits this system just a little bit better. I think Jerry Tillery also, to mention in that, probably will start to see limited snaps if we do grab a guy like Fedarius Mathis. And I do think that's probably a good thing going into this season. Now, what Mathis would also provide outside of his run stopping and his pass rush ability is the opportunity to get Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack free. And I think a lot of you guys know where I'm going with this. Can you imagine Mathis lined up alongside Sebastian Joseph Day and Austin Johnson? All 3 guys of these guys on the line at the same time are going to eat up blocks and space. And this dramatically increases the chances of Joey Bosa or Khalil Mack getting free. This move not only bolsters our run defense into one of the borderline impenetrable defenses in the league, but it also adds value to our pass rush as well as our coverage guy. It's a trickling effect. Mathis on the line gives Joey Bosa and Mack more time and more space to get after the quarterback. Getting after the quarterback allows our coverage guys to not have to cover, as long, or at least get in place for an interception due to a bad, decision by the quarterback. I love the trickling effect of Fedarius Mathis. In the 3rd round, my objective is very much so the same as it was in the first. Find the guy that can impact at every level. And Mathis, to me, is one of the best talents on the board still, and one that would carry serious improvement to every defensive stat, especially versus the run where we heavily need it. So I would look for Mathis to rotate in with Jerry Tillery week 1, and perhaps slowly and surely and persistently taking over as the season goes on. I don't think the Chargers are going to pick up, Jerry Tillery on an extension next season. They want to bring in the next guy, and I think Mathis could definitely be the dude to do it. All right? Next up, the Chargers in round 4, and this might blow your mind a little, guys. It kind of blew mine a little bit, too, because it is a little bit surprising, shocking, and probably a little bit funny, too. The Chargers at pick number 123 are going to select Brian Robinson, running back out of Alabama. Wow, man. 3 Alabama players. My wife is going to kill me. War Eagle. You guys see the thing over there? Yeah, that's for my wife. She's going to... Don't let her see this video, dude. It's 3 Alabama players. I swear it's not on purpose, but here we go again. Another Alabama player in Brian Robinson, running back out of Alabama. You know what? Screw it, though, right? This is my draft, and there's a few guys I do like at running back, and it just so happens a guy from Alabama really does stand out as my favorite, okay? Brian Robinson. Do you guys want a power back? You got it. How does a 6'2", 225-pound beast in Brian Robinson sound, right? Yeah, it sounds pretty amazing. That's definitely the kind of guy that we've been looking for. And Robinson, to me, is probably one of the best short yardage backs in this entire class. There was a time, we used to hand the ball off to Kellen Ballage or another one of these nice power backs, and we felt really good about it. Since then, the Chargers maybe have been struggling at gaining production between the tackle. And you know what? I feel even better about Brian Robinson than even Kellen Ballage of years past. Talk about a tank. This move really does help the Chargers avoid a lot of those stumbles going for it on 4th and short. And I fully expect that mentality to continue in 2022. Now, all of a sudden, if it's 4th and short, 4th and 1, 4th and 2, Brian Robinson brings an element to this offense where, honestly, the success rate should be pretty high because, again, Robinson is exactly as advertised. A pure power back that can provide exactly what we need. He's not the flashiest runner, not the flashiest player. He won't have home run speed, but my God, Hand the ball over to him on short yard situations, you're feeling really good. You're looking at it, 2 yards to score on the goal line. I'm feeling pretty dang good about Brian Robinson. One of the best complement running backs you could possibly provide in Austin Eckler and this defense. Brian Robinson, to me, one of my guys. I decided to nab him in the 4th round. I've seen him floating around the 5th round sometimes. Didn't want to take a chance on him sliding, so we took him in the 4th. Now, here we go, guys. This next pick in round 5 may be the most controversial pick in this video, maybe the most controversial pick of all my mock drafts this season, maybe one of the most controversial picks on the web for Chargers mock drafts. In round 5, at pick number 160, the Los Angeles Chargers are going to select Matt Araiza, punter out of San Diego State. Crap. I fully expect to catch some flack for this one, right? Because let's be honest, the director just drafted a punter in the 5th round. Are you crazy? But this is a selfish draft, remember? And you know what? I want Araiza, damn it, and I'm going to take him. Even here in the 5th round. Now, let me be clear. This is the absolute highest that I would consider taking him. I think there's a fair shot that he could be taken before round 5. But that being said, he was available here, and this kid definitely impresses me, dude. This kid is special. And I think we as football fans might be overthinking it a little bit just because he is a punter. What he would bring to the team immediately does spell part of the recipe for immediate success. We're talking this guy who kicks 80-yard plus punts on a consistent level. That just does not happen. The dude hit a touchback from his own 12 versus Hawaii last year. Like, what? From his own 12? I can't remember who said it. Maybe it might have been Pat McAfee, somebody on an interview, but someone said that if you have a great defense, this is a luxury that you can and should afford. It was something like that. And as, great as the Chargers offense could be, especially if we grab Jameson Williams, we're still going to need to punt this season. Maybe a lot, who knows? But what Araiza brings is the ability to completely flip the field. And like they said, when you've got a good defense and you're handing your defense a very favorable opportunity to get the ball back, which in turn helps your offense, it starts to make a lot of sense. The Chargers special teams have been so bad for so long, since I've been a fan pretty much. I want to see that narrative change. And I'm all about a move like this, to grab a guy that can make so much of an impact, even in the 5th round, is awesome. Imagine going 3 and out in the 25-yard line and having, a punter that could force a freaking touchback. You pair that with the Chargers defense, which now has J.C. Jackson, Khalil Mack, Bosa, Derwin, all the above. Araiza could be a slam dunk pick in round 5. There are going to be some people that give me a hard time about this. I'm ready for it. But I do think Araiza, even at the punter position, is a step in the right direction to help this historically bad Charger special teams improve. And in the case of an immediate impact in 2022, you're leaning on that defense. You're betting on that defense. Let's give that defense even more space to operate with a supreme future, maybe possible future Hall of Fame punter in Matt Araiza. I love this guy. I have definitely, I don't know. I've not drafted him before because it is hard to wrap my mind around grabbing a punter in the 5th. But the more I think about it, the more I think I'm overthinking it. And that Araiza would bring something, an element to this team immediately that could really help the Chargers clutch out some wins. Love this pick, man. Okay, you guys let me know what you think of that one. Some people are going to love it. Some people are going to give me some serious flack about it. Let's move on here, guys, into round 5. And this is a surprise because we do have another 5th round pick in this mock draft. At pick number 177 via the Detroit Lions, the Chargers are going to select Amare Barno, edge out of Virginia Tech. And yes, I have talked about this guy. In this instance, I traded both our 6th round picks to go get Barno because I love this guy so much. As you guys probably remember me talking about him before, he ran an absurd sub 4.4 at the combine at 6'5". Are you kidding me? He's deceptively fast for his size, like a wildebeest. No way that dude's going to trample me over. Look at the size of that guy. Wham! Here he comes, like a freaking freight train. He's got some great moves to work with, too, as a pass rusher, man. I think he's got a wicked spin move, and he'll only get better with Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack as the mentors in Los Angeles. But in the end, man, his physical traits are too much for me not to jump on and even trade up for. In this instance, I gave up both our 6th-round picks to get back into the 5th and draft Amari Barno. Barno is the kind of player that holds amazing upside to me and provides immediate depth and maybe even rotation that we will need in 2022. Not to mention, he's a hell of a spy. Love everything about Amari Barno. I've seen him climbing draft boards since the last time we drafted him, so I decided let's trade up. 2 6th-round picks, maybe a bit steep at this point in the draft, but at the same time, I want to grab a quality edge to rotate with Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, and Chris Rumpf. This guy has a ton of upside to me. Next up at round number 7, of course, we don't have 6th-round picks anymore. We traded them away for Barno. In round 7 at pick 236, no surprise here, I'm going Smoke Monday again. I think this is the 3rd mock draft that I've taken Smoke Monday, safety out of Auburn. I've talked a lot about Smoke Monday. I love his versatility, his physical traits, something like 6'2", 6'3". You can use him similarly to Derwin James, so he does add, some depth to that room, and he can provide depth, especially in a system that's so DB heavy. This will, we'll be able to make full use of him. And I do think the value of depth at the position just went up with what the Chargers want to do this year. So great depth add in round number 7. We'll move on here to the last couple of, you have 4 7th-round picks. In pick number 254, I selected Nick Ford out of Utah. And again, this is another guy that I drafted in a recent draft. I love this guy's upside as a backup offensive lineman. He's very versatile. He played everywhere on that offensive line. And I do think he could find a home with the Chargers as our backup center, as we do not have Scott Quessenberry anymore. His versatility and size are very attractive in the 7th round. He's going to be my 254 pick. And then our second to last pick in the 7th round is going to be Ben Brown at 255, guard out of Ole Miss. Now, Brown is also a guy that we could see contend for the backup center position, but like Ford, he's very versatile, and I think most recently he's played at right guard. I can see him as a nice depth guard for this team, which again, if we're not going to be drafting, again, shockingly, in the first 3 picks on offensive line doesn't even make an appearance for me until late here in the 7th round. You got to add some depth options there, right? If you're really going to be throwing it down for Matt Filer, Ode Abushi, and those other dudes. Getting 2 guys here late, I'm feeling really good about. I'm feeling, solid rolling out with Filer and Hymus. In this instance, I also say we do re-sign Ode Abushi, and getting guys like Ben Brown and Nick Ford to back him up makes me feel a little bit better about the depth on this team. And then finally, the last pick for the Chargers here at pick number 260 in round 7. Once again, it's going to be Ollie Green, the 4th cornerback out of Missouri, formerly of Tulsa, as you'll see here on this picture. And again, this is a guy that I stumbled on a few days ago. I like him a lot. 6'3", great and press man. Something for us to work with in a backup corner for the Chargers. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. So, man, this was a big one, man. I'm almost a little bit nervous to see what people say. I might get torn apart in the comments, but this is my selfish mock draft. And here we go. Let's do the reveal of what this team would look like with the director's selfish mock draft roster look, a first look preview. This is kind of what we would be looking at, what we'd be working with in 2022, right? That offensive line, I know we didn't take anybody early. There's still a shot that the Chargers could sign somebody. Let's say like a Darrell Williams. You can move Matt Filer back to guard, and then Hymus could definitely still be your quality depth option there. But I'm not feeling too upset about the way this offensive line looks. Right, you got a lot of veteran leadership on there. Obushi, Lindsley, Slater, Filer. All those guys are very proven. It's just pretty much Brendan Hymus who's going to be taking a lot of tips, a lot of help from those veteran guys on the line that would maybe need to play a little bit of catch-up, but I do believe in Brendan Hymus tremendously, so I'm feeling very good about that line. Of course, let's at quarterback, you got Justin Herbert. At running back, you got Austin Eckler, now backed up by Brian Robinson, one of the best power backs in this draft. And then you've got yourself the receivers. We'll go ahead and throw Gerald Everett in there too at tight end. The receivers, man, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and now Jameson Williams. A double dose of Williams on this, offense, definitely lethal. And all these guys do, they have their strengths that bring something different to the team. Keenan Allen can, move the chains, get open, find, a consistent target for Justin Herbert to look for. Mike Williams, those 50-50 opportunities, big physical receiver, look for him in the red zone. Jameson Williams, now the speed threat. He can go anywhere and everywhere with that kind of raw speed, get over the top, take, a short pass all the way to the house. This offense looks absolutely stellar. Yes, we used a first-round pick on Jameson Williams, but I'm telling you, man, the trickling effect of his presence on this team could pay dividends 10 times full what we all think. So that's the offense. Looks absolutely amazing. The defense at this point, I was really hoping to grab maybe a better cornerback at some point, but my guys really do exist in the first 2 or 3 rounds. So I decided let's just grab a little bit more depth there with Ollie Green and then really lean on J.C. Jackson, Asante Samuel, and Mike Davis, who are a great trio of corners in this league. Beneath them, you'll see Nasir Adderley and Derwin James, who are now being backed up by Smoke Monday. I do think in a system for the Chargers that's going to be using a lot more, safeties in the box, Smoke Monday is going to be a great addition, to help mix in with Alohi Gilman and Mark Webb. Great additions there. At edge, you've got Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, backed up by Amari Barno and Chris Rumpf. Love those backup guys. I think the Chargers are looking very nice at edge when it comes to rotation and depth. And then finally, that defensive line, which just gets me so excited every time I look at this photo. Fadarian Mathis, brand new defensive lineman that we picked up there in the 3rd round. Very excited to see this guy get in there and help this run defense tremendously, as well as add some pass rushing elements as well. Those 3 guys bundled together in the middle of that line are going to get Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa free more often than not. This is definitely a move in the right direction in terms of what Brandon Staley wants to transform this defense into. And then finally, a quick preview of the special teams. Only 3 guys to list here, a long snapper and Josh Harris, who is a recent signing. Food for thought, the best long snapper in the league does now reside with the Chargers. We got Dustin Hopkins in there now, and we've got the brand new addition of Matt Ariza, probably one of the best punters in the league, if not the best punter, at the time. I'm sure that if he, for whoever he starts for, he's going to go out there and make a very nice first impression. So what do you guys think of this mock draft? Do you guys like it? Do you guys think that maybe Director took these Alabama guys too consistently, too high, too frequently? Is there other positions that you think that maybe I ignored that are going to come back to bite us, like the offensive line, maybe even some more pieces on defense? Or are you feeling really good about this one? Let me know in the comment section below. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This was airing out all the Director's dirty laundry. I think it's good, though, man. Again, I'm nervous about how this is going to be, taken in the comments. But to me, if I saw a team like this, I would be absolutely stoked to see the potential of the Chargers with these particular players. So, again, let me know. And let me also know in the comments some of your guys who you really want the Chargers to take. Again, safe space. We're not going to judge. I just kind of want to see what the Chargers fam is looking at in terms of that first round picks coming around. Who do you really want? Let me know in the comment section below. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. If you did enjoy this content, hit us up with a like and sub on your way out. This has been The Director. We'll see you next time. And as always, bolt up and stay frosty. Yep, got to say it. Jameson Williams, that's my guy.